today on Divorce Court.
Me and Tyler were getting high. Now we just have different ideas of what fun is.
Before I decided to get clean, we were spending every dollar we had on drugs. I'm guilty of turning a blind eye. It is time to put my foot down, and it might have to be time to move on.
My family doesn't like my relationship with Tyler.
I think it's a lot easier for them to look at me and say, because of the color of his skin, he's the reason that she is turning into the person she is, when I really, really want to save my girlfriend's life. If she thinks that by leaving me, she can become sober and that is what's gonna make her happy, I fully support that.
Tyler, I hope you don't give up on me.
Divorce Court is now in session.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here today with Samantha Jackman and Tyler Critchlow. The two of you have been together for 5 years. This is a before your vows. You want to get married, but you're having some issues, so you've come to me for some advice. You gave me your marriage license. You've also given me a compatibility test. So I'm going to sit down, talk to you about why you love each other, but what the problems are. I'm going to start with you, Ms. Jackman. Why don't you tell me a little bit about your union and why you're here today?
Well, I am here today because, honestly, I am an addict. Where I come in with him is he has gotten clean and sober. I'm here today because it's the last chance. I've been playing cat and mouse with addiction for a long time, and we can't be together if just one of us is clean and one's not. It just doesn't work.
Were you both using together?
Yes, we were.
Were you using before you met him?
Yes, I was.
Okay. Tell me how that started. What road did you go down?
Well, I went down a bad road. I've always been, I'll say independent, a loner. So when I started out using K2, it's not the drug I'm using now.
K2 is like a synthetic drug. It's like chemicals, and it can be pretty much anything, just whoever's cooking it.
Yeah, and I got addicted to that, and I went to him pretty much. He called me, and I needed something familiar. He said he wasn't gonna let me go, because I was
When you say you went to him, I'm not quite sure what you mean.
He called me one day when I was having a rough day, and I never answered the phone. I didn't like to talk to people, knowing what I was doing. I was embarrassed, and I just felt in a bad place. And I picked up his phone call, and he asked to hang out. When I went to hang out with him, because we had met each other in high school, I wasn't the same person. So he literally looked at me and said, "I'm not gonna let you leave my side until, I get you better."
Mr. Critchlow, is that accurate? Is that what happened?
Yes, Judge, except for the fact that she left out. I started using with her. For all the applause that people gave me, I fell right back down the road.
Had you been using before you met her?
I've used in the past. I had started trying to get myself a little bit better at the time, not 100% there yet. But with her, I kind of let myself fall in an excuse, and that kind of started our road down to why we're here now.
I got you. So tell me about the trajectory of your relationship.
Tyler's an amazing person. One of his flaws, I think, through being literally with him every single day for 5 years, except when we had to be apart, it gets me angry when he puts other people's feelings before his own. But in the long run, I think that's what I love most about him. He's very caring. On the negative side, no matter what I need, anything, he'll get it for me. So like when I would be sick, he'd come to my saving grace pretty much. But
were you concerned about getting involved with somebody who had the same weakness as you did? But was she so pretty? You just
for the most part, Judge, yeah, she's beautiful. I thought I had a handle on it. I thought I could, lack of a better term, control my own destiny, and it didn't matter who I was with or what I was doing.
So did you pursue her, or was it pretty much, because it seems that you recall, well, she called You my woman, that's it. It couldn't have been like that.
No,
High school.
it started in high school. She had a boyfriend at the time. I transferred to the same high school as her my senior year. And I mean, I pursued her every day. I would text her all the time and call her. She never gave me the time of day. She wasn't that type of woman. I kind of was in the badder kid in high school, I suggest. And she was kind of like the goody two-shoes, didn't do anything wrong, stayed in school. And it wasn't until that summer that I finally was like, you know, I'm gonna try and call her again and see what's up, that I realized she came and met up with me, and I realized the path she was going down. I saw this beautiful girl that I saw in high school pretty much in the same level as me. And I didn't agree with it, and I thought in my head, I'd put it as I can save her. I can show her that that life's not for you, and in doing that, I kind of got wrapped up in my own issues.
Ms. Jackman, do you think you pulled him back into an addiction? I mean, I don't want it like as a guilt thing, but are you concerned that your using enticed him to do that?
Honestly, yes, because at the time, since I wasn't that close with him, he actually went to dump all the K2 out of the bag, and I started bawling. I told him not to do it, and he was like, I said, I don't care if you do it with me, but I'm gonna,
but leave me alone.
Do it.
Take my drugs.
I'm gonna do it either way. So he was right. He had quit doing it, but he's pretty much said, screw it.
Okay. So during the course of this relationship, you became a bit of a Bonnie and Clyde, and at one point managed to steal $23,000 from a bank. So I have got to know how you two managed that.
We were at the bank, and I just found out, we were in the car, we were getting ready to leave. An armored car just so happened to back out before us to leave, and their back door was open.
And what transpired after that? So, Ms. Jackman, tell me about the $23,000 heist.
Well, I would like to think of it as just luck, because we were at the bank. I actually went to pull out the last $25 in my savings account, which would mean I would be closing it down. So I went and did that because a bag K2 was exactly $25. And we were at the bank, and I just found out, we were in the car, we were getting ready to leave. An armored car just so happened to back out before us to leave, and their back door was open. So Tyler, being the opportunist he is, he said that he's going to jump out of the car and jump in theirs. And I said, if you do that, then you're not getting back in mine. So he's like, you're right. And literally just after he said that, I looked over, and there was a brick in the street. And I saw the armored car there at a stop sign, and they went slowly pull forward, and it leaves the view of this brick. So I asked him, what is that? And I drive up to it, and we look out the door, and it's a big brick of money. And so we looked, we picked it up and took off.
And what transpired after that?
Went and got high.
Yeah.
That was the first thing we did. And then I had this great plan that we were gonna figure out how to leave the state. But in doing that, I made a mistake, and I decided to go shopping. Went to the mall. Spent quite a bit of money, I bought a watch and some things like that.
That's an arrest me flag, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
You just
exactly.
say, oh!
I went in there with all 20s, like $3,000. So they kind of knew right away. And we had, lack of a better term, we had somebody who worked at the bank who knew who I was, knew who she was, said that they saw us. We were never going to get away with it. They just kind of let us have our fun with it for a second, and then decided to take us to jail.
And you both did jail time for it, correct? What was the ironic part? You have to tell me that. The ironic part. If you had only turned it in, what did you find out would have happened to you?
It is called a finder's keeper's fee, and if we would have turned it in, we would have got 10%. So we would have got back exactly, or we would have got to keep exactly what we spent.
23,000 sound a lot nicer than 2,300.
We did not know
about
this. Otherwise, we probably would have went that
Free money ain't ever free. You know what I'm saying? There's no such thing as a free lunch. I mean, and I know you were addicts at the time, and to discuss logic is silly on my part because you're not thinking logically.
Right.
You're thinking with I gotta, and you have an opportunity.
The craziest thing was she sat in jail longer than me because she refused to testify against me. They told her she could walk out that day if she just said, you know, black man made me do it. So they told her, you know, if you don't want to testify, you can sit in here. And I actually bonded out while she was still in jail. She did 2 months for me, 60 days in jail for me.
I've been in love before, but I'd be singing like a canary. I ain't gonna lie. Because it was his idea. I ain't suffering for your stupidity, especially when I tell you not to do it, but that's just me. Okay. That having said, I want to move forward. This is not only is this a story about drugs and money, this is a story about sex as well, because at some point you cheated on him and there was a revenge cheat involved. So
right.
I'm going to go there next and figure out where we go from there.
I called her back and she gave me the phone number for the guy she was seeing, and I called him. I kind of just told him, like, you realize, like, as soon as I get out of jail, like, she's gonna be back with me. I mean, you've only known her for 2 weeks. So
when you got out, did she immediately come back to you? So tell me about your cheating on Mr. Critchlow.
He was, at the time, in jail to get off probation, and he left his phone, and I had never done I didn't put myself in any of the getting the drugs, so I had never messed with that. But when he left his phone and had introduced me to this drug, I kind of took it upon myself to, you know, use his phone to get the numbers to do it. This kid I knew got it for me, but then he also used with me.
Sure.
And then after that, it was 2 weeks, and he told me he loved me, and I fish took him in, kind of. Just until, you know, Tyler
Just until he got out.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of a loan, does that terrify you?
No and yes. Being alone terrifies me in the way, you know, not to have someone pick me back up type thing.
Because
you know,
the
when
way
I do
you
fail,
describe, well, I gotta hook this one in until that one gets out, as if existing on your own is really not an option. Have you ever talked to anybody about what's not happening drug-wise in your head, but happening in your head altogether? Because I understand you also have anorexia.
yes.
See, so something's happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have you ever talked to anybody about what's happening unrelated to that?
Nobody but Tyler. Nobody I haven't talked to.
He's a nice guy, but he's not qualified.
Right.
You
I
get
just
that?
feel like I get told the same thing from everybody, you know, and me, I kind of feel like, you know, I know what's best, even though on the outside looking in, I absolutely don't. I have no idea.
You don't know what's best. You got
Not
that?
at all.
You don't know what's best. Mr. Critchlow, tell me about how you found out about the cheat and what did you do in response there too?
So I was in jail, as she said, and I picked up the phone, was calling her just like I do every single morning. She answers the phone and she immediately tells me how she hates me. She hates my family. She doesn't want anything to do with me. And I'm just kind of blown away at this point. I'm like, what the hell heck happened, you know? I called her back and she gave me the phone number for the guy she was seeing, and I called him. And he pretty much told me the truth, everything that had been going on. And I kind of just told him, like, you realize, like, as soon as I get out of jail, like, she's gonna be back with me. Like, I can guarantee you she doesn't love you. I mean, you've only known her for 2 weeks. So
when you got out, did she immediately come back to you?
The day I got out.
The day you got out.
The night I got out, actually, she called me like a million times, and I was trying to act like I was mad and didn't want anything to do with her. But I answered in the morning, and yeah, we saw each other the day I got out.
So you knew he was like a place card. He was just holding your spot until you could get back out.
Absolutely. I fully...
Did you revenge cheat on her?
Yeah, I did.
When someone is an addict and is afflicted, the entire family becomes afflicted because it's not something that you go through alone. Your whole family goes through it with you. My understanding is that your mother believes that he's the reason that you're an addict. So I want to talk to her. So we're here talking to the two of you about your addiction, and as I said, all the family becomes afflicted, and your mother is here, and she does have something she would like to say. So I'm going to bring Ms. Deborah Jackman out. Ms. Jackman, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. I know it's not a proceeding one would enjoy as a parent.
No, it's not.
However, given the epidemic in this country, you are far from alone, and I hope you understand that. What do you think Mr. Critchlow's role is in your daughter's affliction?
It just seems as though since they met, that's when Samantha has gotten worse and worse. I mean, before they met, she was going to college, she had a job, she had a car, her life was going in a good direction. And it just seems very coincidental to me that when Tyler started coming around, she lost her job, her car, or she dropped out of college.
It's my understanding that she was using before she met Tyler. Were you aware of that?
No. Well, to an extent, but nothing like what's transpired since.
Is there a possibility that she was further down the road than you believe and he just joined her?
I'm beginning to realize that may be the case. I mean, Tyler and I have had a very tumultuous relationship because I've always blamed him for Samantha's addiction.
So what do you believe his role is? Even, given the new information that you have, you still think he has some culpability. Explain the level of culpability and why you believe it's his.
Well, I don't know for fact, but I feel like it's his friends that have gotten her more and more down this road.
Could I speak for a second,
Yes,
Judge?
go right ahead, Mr. Critchlow.
I feel like a lot of her anger towards me as an individual doesn't have a lot to do with my actions or my friends or who I am. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that the culture I live in, the color of my skin, the color of my friend's skin.
What culture do you live in?
Being black in Iowa, it's kind of a different situation.
Right.
By no means do I think that she's a racist or a bigot by any means, but I think just the type of lifestyle that me and my friends would entertain while we were having fun. I think that she used that as fuel to kind of present all these problems as my fault.
And while we're talking about all this drama, we do have to make it clear about who did what to whom when. And it is my understanding, Mr. Critchlow, you did introduce her to the harder stuff. You introduced her to heroin.
Yes, I did.
We are going to adjourn this matter and reconvene. This matter's adjourned. Let's say he had a little mix-up, went to jail for 6 months. You find you another dude till he got out?
She came to my office begging for money, and she said, "Mom, if you don't give it to me, I'm gonna go out to the car and get you the letter that I wrote you to say goodbye, because I'm gonna kill myself."
Now, I would like to bring into this courtroom Mr. Ken Seeley. He is an interventionist from the show Intervention.
Sam, I am begging you to get help. I firmly believe that if you don't, you're gonna die.
We aren't done yet. In fact, we're just getting started.